Alright, today we're going to be talking about graphing quadratics in intercept form. So we will be able to determine the x-intercepts of the parabola, identifying the domain, range, vertex, y-intercept form, y-intercept and end behavior, and we will be able to write the equation in intercept form given the graph of a parabola. So intercept form is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. Our intercepts are the points P0 and Q0. And just like H was in vertex form, P and Q are going to be the opposite of what they look like. The axis of symmetry is halfway between P and Q, and we can look at that on the graph. To find the vertex, we're going to plug in the number for the axis of symmetry. And to find the y-intercept, you're going to plug in 0 for x. All right, so in our first example, y equals x minus 3 times x minus 7. We need to find a, p, and q. A is the number out front. Since we don't see anything, it's 1. P is the opposite of the number inside, so 3. Opposite of the other number is q, so 7. So our roots, because that means the same thing as x-intercept, roots would be 3, 0, and 7, 0. Don't forget that roots, zeros, x-intercepts, and solutions all mean the same thing. So I'm going to plot that on my graph. 3, 0, and 7, 0. And I'm going to figure out what halfway between that is, which would be right here. And I'm going to draw my dotted line there. And my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals, and then whatever number this is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since I know that my axis of symmetry has to go through the vertex, I know that the vertex is also going to be at 5. And I'm going to take 5 and plug it in up here. So 5 minus 3 times 5 minus 7. You're going to type it in your calculator just like this, and you should get negative 4. Make sure you're plugging into the original formula. So I'm going to plot the point 5, negative 4. My XY chart is going to be 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. To find the y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for x, so 0 minus 3 times 0 minus 7, which gives me a positive 21. Now, can we graph that? No, not on this graph paper, but it's still the y-intercept, so we're still going to write it down. So now we're going to follow the pattern. A is 1, so that's not going to change any of my y values if I multiply by it. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, that dot's already there, 3 squared is 9, and then the points that don't have a reflected one, I'm going to fill those in. So that one, that's already there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Connect the dots, and then draw arrows on the ends. So domain is still always negative infinity to infinity. My range, the bottom is at 1, 2, 3, 4, so negative 4 to positive infinity, and my arrows are both pointing towards positive infinity. Let's try another one. Here, A is -2, P is -2, and Q is -4. So my zeros are -2, 0, and -4, 0. Halfway between those, it's right here, which would be x equals -3, which is also the first part of my vertex. So when I plug it in, I do -2 times -3 plus 2 times -3 plus 4. Type all that at once in your calculator. And you get +2. So I'll plot that, -3, +2. To get the y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0. 0 for my x, and then when you type that in your calculator, you would get -16. So for my xy chart, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. Multiply by a, which is -2 this time, and I end up with -2, -8, -18, and -32. Now you might be already able to figure out we're not going to be able to fit a lot of these this time. So over 1 down 2, already there. Over 2 down 8. And -18 is not going to fit, so I'm just going to reflect this one on the other side. And connect the dots. Domain is still -infinity to infinity. Range, the arrows are pointing down, so we're going to start with -infinity. The top is at 2. And since the arrows are pointing down, both my end behaviors are going towards -infinity. Now let's write the write the equation from the graph. We need the intercepts, the vertex, and 1 point away from the vertex. So A, P, and Q. So our x-intercepts are -2 and -4. So that's our P and our Q. It doesn't matter which one's P and which one's Q. You could have the -4 first and the -2 second. It's the same equation. It's okay. If I move from the vertex and go over 1 box, to get to this point I had to go down 1, so my A is -1. So now I can plug into the formula for intercept form. Y equals negative out front, x, remember P and Q switch in the equation, so x plus 2 and x plus 4. Let's try another one. We need the intercepts. So those are P and Q. So -1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For A, I'm going to find the vertex, and then I'm going to go over 1 box and see where it hits. So that's over 1 and up about a half. So A is 1/2. So plug into my formula, y equals 1/2 times x plus 1 times x minus 5. That's all for today. Fill in your summary, and I'll see you in class.